Now, after the five general defenses, we start today with the general defense, that is mistake. So, generally, it is considered, see, the term is very important, the words are very important in law. So, it is told that mistake, whether of fact or of law, is generally no defense in tort. In crime, it is there when it is a mistake of fact. In crime, we consider is at a defense. Mistake of fact is allowed, but mistake of law is not allowed there also. But under tort, we neither have the mistake of fact nor the mistake of law. So just see the case here, that an auctioneer was asked to auction certain goods by his customer. Now, honestly believing that the goods belong to the customer, he auctioned them and he paid the sale proceed to the customer. Now, in fact, there was no intention of this person. The auctioneer did not have any bad intention. He was under the mistake of fact that the person whom he has sold the goods, he was the same person. However, he was not the same person, but the court held that he will be liable for tort, because under tort, mistake of fact is not a defense. Even mistake of fact. In crime, we have mistake of fact as a defense, but in tort, we don't have mistake of fact as a defense. So here in the consolidated versus co versus Q he was held liable for the tort of conversion, because although he thought somebody else to be the person to whom the selling has to be done, however, it was a mistake of fact. However, because it is a tort, so it was not considered as a good defense. Next, we have the necessity is another defense, in which if some damage is done to the defendant to prevent a greater harm. For example, take the example of two ships are there. One ship is having 50 passenger and it is coming. Okay, it is coming to the seashore. Now imagine ki there on the one side, if the ship go to the left, then there is a taboo, and if the ship get in contact with the taboo, then all the 50 people will die. On the right side, there is a small ship which is carrying only two passengers. Now the ship driver, the ship man has two options: either to kill the 50 people by going to the right, or to going to the left and kill the two people. There is no other option. He does not have either another option. So, as a result of which, the ship owner decided that he will kill the two passengers who are on the small ship instead of going toward the taboo, and then move to, after destroying the small ship which is carrying two passengers only, he will be moving toward the seashore toward his left side. And if he would have moved toward the right side, then the ship would have come in contact with the taboo and the 50 people would have died. Now, when the case will be brought against this ship man, all the ship people, then they will plead the defense of necessity, because to prevent a greater evil, this harm was caused intentionally. Although it was caused intentionally, but to prevent a greater harm, this was necessary. So, this is necessity. See, there is a case of Cope versus Sarpe where the defendant entered the plaintiff's land to prevent the spread of the fire to the adjoining land over which the defendant master had the shooting right. Okay. Now, the defendant here had entered the plaintiff land. Why? To prevent the fire. There is a fire in the plaintiff land. To prevent the fire from entering to the adjoining land, the defendant entered. So now here the defendant will not be liable for trespass. We have discussed yesterday what is trespass. So here the defendant will not be liable for trespass because he has entered the plaintiff land to prevent the spread of the fire to the adjoining land. So this is the case of the necessity. To prevent a bigger harm, a small harm can be done. It can be intentional also. It can be intentional also, because the killing of the two-person in the small safe was intentionally killed. But the defense was that it was a necessity to prevent or to save the life of the 50 people. Definitely, the life of the 50 people is more valuable to the government of India than the life of the two people. Although life of every citizen is important, but in that case, in that scenario, we are thinking that 50 people are more important to the government. So definitely, the government has asked them to kill the two people and bring the 50 people safely. Now, in the court of law, they were not allowed to be prosecuted because it was a necessity. Same is this case of the Cope versus Sarpe, because here the defendant entered the plaintiff land to prevent the spread of the fire to the adjoining land. So he will not be liable for trespass. So this is your necessity. Now, next general defense that is generally taken under the tort is the statutory authority. So, it is told that any damage which is caused by the act of the legislature is not considered, although it is a wrong, but it is not considered to be a tort. So, for example, an act is done under the government of India, when the act is done by the police, when the act is done by the army, by the railway, by the airport authority of India, whatever are the state under the constitution of India. In that case, no suit can be initiated, and if the suit has been initiated, it will be rejected on the ground of statutory authority. The defendant will plead statutory authority, and so there will be no liability for them. See the example. There is a case of Vaughan versus Tab Valde Railway Co., where the sparks from the engine of the respondent railway company, which had been authorized to run the railway, set fire to the appellant wood. It was held that since the respondent had taken proper care to prevent the emission of spark and they were doing a statutory work, they will not be liable because they were working under the act. This respondent engine was under the railway company. They were under the Railway of India, Ministry of Railway. So it is under an act, it is under a statute, and they are working as statutory authority. Sovereignty power is being given to them, and so they will not be liable. So when any act is done under the statutory authority, under the act, under the government control is there, in that case the sovereignty will be pleaded and no liability will be imposed on this defendant. So when we discuss the general defenses in tort, we have voluntary non-fit injuria, we discuss the inevitable accident, what is act of God, what is private defense necessity, and then the statutory authority mistake. So statutory authority is that when the act is done under the control of the government or it is a sovereign function. For example, there is one more case generally asked in the small principal fact-based question. You must practice the principal fact-based question first and then move to the passage-based question. So in the principal fact-based question also it is many times it is told that a truck of full of army. Okay, you must have seen that the army men travel in the truck. Their special truck is there. So they travel. A full of army was traveling one day, and there was full of fog in the morning. Yeah, in the morning 3 a.m. they were traveling, and there were fog all around. As a result of which, and they were going for a war. There was a war on the, for suppose, on the India-China border or India-Pakistan border, whatever border you consider, no issue. So there was a war on either of the border, and they were going in the fog at 3 a.m. One of the army was only driving. You must have seen that even that the truck is driven by the army men only, the soldier only. Now, because of the fog, two of the village men, while they were crossing the border while we are going to the border, that time two of the village men were killed because of the fog, because of the all the in the winter season, because of the winter season. Now they were the suit was initiated in the court of martial, because no suit against the army can be initiated in the Supreme Court, High Court. So the suit was initiated in the court of martial, and there the army soldier was called, and there he pleaded the statutory authority. There also he was given this defense of statutory authority because he was working as a sovereign power. He was working for a function of the government. He was working a sovereign function, and so he was not held to be liable. So this is the correct and the proper example of sovereignty. So if the statutory authority is there, you will not be held liable. These are the general defenses in the tort. We will make a question. We will make 5 questions from all this, and we will do when we will be discussing the questions. That time we will be discussing. So this is all general defenses in tort. If you have any question, you can ask. Then we will move forward. If you have any issue, or if it is clear, you can write in the chat box. Yeah, sure. So yesterday you have asked me the same, but because of the lack of time, we did not take that question. See, first of all, let's see what is inevitable accident. Inevitable accident is something which is not avoidable in spite of the reasonable care which was taken by the person. Okay, so there was no intention. There was no intention by the person, and in spite of all the reasonable care that he or she has taken, the accident had occurred. Now, when it is act of God, Priyamvada, that time what happened? That there is some natural force. This is the main difference between the two. When we consider something to be an act of God, we took the example of the banquet hall because of the heavy rain, thunderstorm, and then the continued earthquake. As a result of which the banquet hall was broken, it fell, the roof fell, and as a result of which the party could not be organized. Yesterday we have discussed this. So whenever it is an act of God, there will be only and only natural forces, like it is mentioned here: heavy rainfall, storm, tide, volcanic eruption, earthquake. These are the things that come under act of God. However, not natural forces are taken into consideration in the inevitable accident. Yesterday we took the two cases where we had taken the example that the two of the person has went to shooting, and because the shot from the gun glanced from the oak tree and injured from the plaintiff, so he took all the reasonable care. He did not have any intention. Then also the accident could not be prevented, and it injured the plaintiff. As a result of which, it was an inevitable accident. In the act of God, we consider it to be the natural forces should be employed. Is it clear now? Converse is not here. Yeah, sure. So these are the general defense. We will be practicing question on this. Don't worry. Various questions we will be practicing on this, on all this volunteer non-fit injury and all the general defenses we will be taking. Then it will be much clear. Now we come to the next topic in tort, that is the vicarious liability. Vicarious liability states that when one person authorizes another to commit a tort, the liability for that will not only of that person who has committed it, but also to that of the person who authorized it. So we are now moving towards the master servant principal agent relationship. Just take the example of the Bhopal gas tragedy. We will be taking into consideration. We will be taking the various cases that are being held, and what is the difference between the servant, what is the difference between contractor and independent contractor. This we will be taken into consideration. So we are moving toward this. See, when the act, for example, I am giving you the best example. You have a driver. You have become a very successful judge of the Bombay High Court. Very good. Congratulations to you. Now you ask your driver to go and take you to the court. While he was taking you to the court, the distance between your palace, we will consider it as a palace because you are a judge of the Bombay High Court. So your bungalow or your palace is, and the Bombay High Court where it is present situated, the distance is 10 kilometer, and the driver is driving smoothly one day. Okay, very good, he is driving. Second day is there when you are late because of some client had come in your house only. That's all. They told that we will not meet you in the court, we will meet you in the house. So as a result of which you were late. No, he was driving rashly, negligently. He was driving very fast so that you reach to the court on the time, because you are the judge. You are a very punctual man. Okay, no comment on the judge of India. You are a very punctual man and you want to reach to the court very fast because the lawyers, the client, and all the public prosecutor, PP, APP, and all the public are waiting that the judge will be coming and delivering a very famous judgment on Kangana Ranaut and Javed Akhtar. Or better take Raj Kundra case. You must have all heard about the Raj Kundra case. Now, Raj Kundra case verdict had to be announced by you. Now your driver is and you have told your driver that जितना भी स्पीड चला सकते चलाओ, जल्दी मुझे कोर्ट पहुंचाओ भाई, मैं बहुत पंक्चुअल जज हूँ, आज मेरा लेट हो जाएगा तो लोग मेरे बारे में क्या सोचेंगे. The driver is driving very fast and negligently, and on the way to the court he hit a pedestrian. Not only the driver, but apart from the driver, you will also be responsible. You will also be responsible because you are the master of the driver. This is the relation of the master and servant. Okay, not only the driver, but you will also be responsible. तो आपका दिन खराब हो गया, अब जजमेंट आप क्या दीजिएगा, अब तो आपके ऊपर चार्ज ही लग गया है. कोई बात नहीं, ठीक है. Another example, take another example. You have called your driver that bhai, tomorrow you have called the driver in the night that by tomorrow I have to deliver the verdict on Raj Kundra or Kangana Ranaut, whatever you take. So come at around 10 p.m. because 10 a.m. Okay, 10 a.m. come to my home, and then we will be going to the court because we have to deliver the judgment at 12 after 12. So very good. Now the on that day the driver called you at the morning, ki, sir, I am tested. I have been tested positive for corona, or I am going to take my vaccine. Today is my date for vaccine. I have no other chance, and you booked an Ola. Very good. Ola में जाएंगे मस्ती से. Okay. Now in the way while you are going to the court, he is taking you. The driver is taking you. He or she, whatever it might be. Now girls are also driving truck, so definitely they can drive the Ola. While he or she is taking you to the court, he hit a pedestrian. That time, my dear sir and madam, you will not be responsible in that case because you don't have any control on him. He is an independent contractor, so you will not be responsible in that case. I hope the whole summary of vicarious liability is clear from this two example only. Now, as we will move forward, you will be relating with this two example and you will be understanding. So their liability is joint and several. So both of them will be liable jointly, even the master and the principal and the servant. Now see, the plaintiff husband gave some amount. See, this is the case of State Bank of India versus Syama Devi. The plaintiff husband gave some amount and check to his friend. Read the facts very carefully. This is the most, as we always tell, that for a lawyer, words are the game. Check to his friend, who was an employee in the defendant bank, for being deposited in the plaintiff account. No proper receipt for the deposit was obtained. The bank employee misappropriated the amount. It was held by the Supreme Court that when the employee was taking the money and committing the fraud, he was working in his private capacity and he was not in the course of employment of the State Bank of India, and therefore State Bank of India will not be responsible for this fraud that is committed by his employment because he was working in his personal capacity as the plaintiff friend. Is it clear? Everyone? Everyone, it is clear? Write in the chat box. Okay. Yeah. He will not be, the State Bank of India will not be responsible because he was not acting in the course of employment. If, for example, not take the reverse situation. You are the plaintiff, you are this is the defendant, the State Bank of India. Now you are an old person. Now the State Bank of India told that, madam, आप घर में बैठिए आराम से. I will be sending my employee. He will be taking the fund and he will be bringing to me and depositing the sum in your account. You told that बहुत बढ़िया था. Thank you. I cannot walk. I cannot travel at this age. Now this is going on for 2 and 3 years. So one day you thought that let's go and अब कब मर जाएंगे पता नहीं, let's go and see what amount I am having and I will make a will according to it and distribute among my son and daughter. Now daughter also have the co-partner right, so daughter will also get it, है ना? So very good. Now when this lady goes to the bank, she sees that last time when I have seen in the account it was 50 lakh. Today it is 52 lakh and 3 years have passed. How it is? That time this plaintiff lady can sue the State Bank of India. The State Bank of India will be liable because that particular employee was acting in the course of employment. So this is the relation of the principal agent master servant. He is working in the course of employment, but not in the first case. So the relation as between partner is that of the principal and agent. So for example, why we talk about partner? Because sometimes we will get question in your examination, CLAT examination or mock, that what about the partners? So if a tort has been committed by any of the partner in the business, in the firm of the business, then all of them will be liable to the same extent. For example, there are 3 partners and Priyamvada tomorrow go and initiate a suit in the Supreme Court that these 3 people, these 3 partners have committed a fraud against me. Okay, this firm has committed a fraud against me. Now there are 3 person X, Y, Z. The fraud was committed by X only. However, the court will tell that not only X, it is X, Y, Z. आप तीनों मालिक बन के बैठते हैं ना. You sit together like a manager of the firm. You are the partner of the firm. All 3 of you will be responsible to pay the damages to Priyamvada. Whether it is a 1 crore, distribute accordingly. If it is a 50 lakh, distribute accordingly. and you all three have to pay it. So they will be liable jointly and severally. So take this all into consideration. These are the questions that you get in the CLAT examination. Now master and servant. So see, if a servant does a wrongful act in the course of his employment, the master is responsible. Just now we have done, है ना? Just now we have done. So he who does an act through another is deemed to in law to do it himself. Now we also discuss the servant and independent contractor. See, a servant is an agent who is subjected to the control and supervision of his employer. Very good. An independent contractor is not subjected to any control. Just we have taken the example of Kangana Ranaut, the judge, and the Ola and the personal driver. So the servant is the personal driver who is an agent who is subjected to the control and supervision of the employer. However, when the judge brought the called for the Ola, booked the Ola for the delivery of the judgment of the Kangana Ranaut or Rajkundra, that time it become an independent contractor, and that time he will not be responsible. Is it clear? Now, so this is the difference between the two. For example, see, very good. My car driver is my servant. If he negligently knocks down X, I will be liable for that. But if I hire a taxi for going to railway station and the taxi driver negligently hit X, I will not be liable toward X because the driver is not my servant but an independent contractor. Okay, so I have no control and supervision on him, and therefore there will be no liability for me in that case, in case of independent contractor. Now same is the theft by contract. See what happened. For example, let's take some example. Shubham Pandey is there in the class, I guess. Yeah. So Shubham Pandey is going to the law school, and National Law University, Jodhpur. Don't go to Jodhpur now. Jodhpur is below Gujarat, so better go to Gujarat. In the latest NIRF ranking, Gujarat has gone one level up from Jodhpur. So go to Gujarat National Law University. So Shubham is going to Jodhpur tomorrow. Not tomorrow. Consider 21st of September. Very good. Congratulations, Shubham. Now he went to the laundry and said that, yeah, this is my coat. Take it. Okay. Don't see the facts here. Whatever it is written. Listen to me. But this is my coat. I have to wear it from 21st. I am going to Gujarat National Law University. But you also told congratulations, Vakil Sahab. And definitely they will be telling Vakil Sahab. Now they don't know lawyer, advocate, CLAT and all this. So he will tell that वकील साहब बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद, मेरा कोई केस होगा तो हम आपके पास लेके आएंगे. बोले ठीक है भैया, ठीक है, वो तो बात की बात है. First of all, you take this coat, get it dry clean and give it to me by 18th. He told, don't worry, I will do your work beforehand so that tomorrow if I get into trouble in law, you will be helping me. Very good. Deal is done. You have got the receipt. Now what happened? The owner of the shop, the laundry name is, for example, take Chamku Laundry. Okay, you must have heard the Chamku Laundry is there in the Tarak Mehta Ka Ulta Chashma, if you see that. So Chamku Laundry is there. Now you give it. The owner of the Chamku Laundry gave it to the servant, those who are working there in the laundry. It is a very big laundry, not that of the Tarak Mehta like small one. It is a very big laundry. There are 50 workers. Now this worker, his name is X. Okay, no need to give anyone name. This worker name is X. He told that, wow, this suit is very beautiful. This coat is very beautiful. My son has also got admission in National Law University, Patiala. Let me take this and give it to him. I do not have to buy now. The suit coat is also of very high cost. If you go to Raymond, you will not get it below 7,000, 8,000. If you go to Peter England, minimum 6,000. So tell that very good. Shubham has bought from the Raymond showroom a coat of 7,000, 8,000 that I will be wearing in Gujarat National University. Very good. Now this servant took this coat to his house and gave it to his son. That yellow, go wear it and take it to your National Law University, Patiala, Odisha, wherever you want to go and go. In this case, the defendant, that is the owner of the Chamku Laundry, will be liable. But don't go to the fact of this case, what is written there, that is the same. See, in this case, the defendant wear the bellies of a fur coat given to them for cleaning. They gave this coat to their servant, Morrissey, for cleaning. Morrissey stole the coat instead of cleaning the same. It was held by the Court of Appeal that the act of servant to whom the same had been entrusted for cleaning was a wrongful act done in the course of employment, and the master, that is the defendant, could be made liable for the same. This is the same fact that is mentioned. So this is the case of theft to of the theft by the servant. So this is your all about vicarious liability, where we discuss the principal, master, agent, servant relationship, independent contractor, theft by them. It is clear to everyone? Nikhil and all? अभी अभी उतना your question will not go in that detail when you will be studying the partnership and sales act in the fourth year, third and fourth year of your college. That time this all thing will come. Okay, that is very good that you know that there is limitation on the partnerships here and all. That is very good. But now you will not your question and all your information will not go to that extent. It will be limited only that the all the three partner will be responsible. That is simple. Okay. So this is your all about your vicarious liability. I hope it is clear to everyone. Write in the chat box if it is clear, if you have any doubt. Yeah, Shivam and all, Nikhil and all. It is clear? Yeah. Okay, okay. Now we move to the next issue, that is the trespass. So trespass to the person. Trespass of land is something else that we discussed yesterday. That is trespass of when you enter into the land of someone else without the lawful means. And we have discussed the case in which they have electrocuted the whole land with wire, and the person can get sock. There was no board of sign, so that is another trespass. This is trespass to person. Now this is very important, guys. Many time I have seen in the various mocks of the different institute that the question on battery and assault come. And you, those who are giving mock, those who have given in class 2021 also, they will be knowing it. That many times the question on battery and assault come. So let's understand what is this, and we will also be practicing question on this. Don't worry. See, trespass to the person, battery and assault. Understand the difference very carefully. Battery is where when you intentionally use force on another person without any lawful justification. So there is a use of force. You use force against a person without any lawful justification. What is the meaning of lawful justification? Means if you are a police sub inspector, you beat the person for your statement. If you want any statement, any facts from the accused, you can beat him how much you want. You can give him electric shock, whatever you want, you give him, you beat him, and that will even result to custodial death. Whatever it is, that is another issue. But if it is without any lawful justification, if you are using force intentionally on any person, that constitute battery. Even if the force is very trivial and does not cause much harm, then also it will be battery. This is the most important thing. Even the force is a very trivial force. Physical hurt is not there. You are not bleeding. Your head is not broken. Your hand is not broken. Your leg is proper. Then also, if you have touched in such a manner, mark my word. If you are touching the another person in such a manner, in that will be constituted to be a battery. See, use of stick, bullet, or any other missile, or throwing of water, or spitting in the man's face, or making a person fall by pulling his chair are example of use of force under battery. Whatever we are teaching now, that whatever the team, this all are made by that, whatever we are teaching now, the question will be based on this thing only. Now see, this is, I am giving you the hint now only. I am definitely you will not remember by then. Pulling the chair, there is a question related to this in the when we will be discussing the question sets. So pulling of the chair. Now that time the question will be whether it is battery or not, whether it is assault or not. That time you will get confusing. Now see here, it is written very clearly that use of a stick, bullet, or any other missile, or throwing of water, or spitting in the man's face, or making a person fall by pulling his chair are example of use of force, and it comes under the battery. So there should be an intentional force. It should be without any lawful justification. Now see this one. Understand. In the case of Holt versus in the case of Holt, the Chief Justice, that if two or more persons meet in a narrow passageway and without any violence or design of harm, the one touches the other gently. That is my point. That was only thing I was wanted you to see. The one touches the other gently, it will not be battery. but if the one touches the other in anger, it will constitute a battery. So now the question will come in your mind that how to determine whether it is angry or whether it is gently, प्यार से छुआ या गुस्से में छुआ, ये कैसे पता चलेगा? That will depend on the facts of the case, the circumstances of the case, and all the evidence that will be presented. So that is not your issue. Now you have to know that if the one touches the other gently, it will not be a battery. But if either of them uses violence against the other to force his way in a rude or inordinate manner, so you are not beating him, okay, you are not beating him with a stick, for example, or if you're not beating him in such a manner that his head is broken, or if you're not breaking his hand or leg, you know, what it is called, tycoon, what is, I don't know. So whatever it is, you have played all that thing, and now you have used it and broken his leg, or you have forced him in a rude manner, in an inordinate manner, that will be battery. Okay, so they see in Pratap Daji versus BB and CI Railway, the plaintiff entered a carriage. Now what happened? That the railway company is there. The plaintiff entered into the carriage, means into the train. Okay, and he failed to purchase the ticket for his travel. At the intermediate at the intermediate station, he asked for a ticket, but the same was refused. At another place, he was asked to get out of the carriage because he did not have a ticket. Okay, now don't read these facts in these circumstances. When we will be dealing the question, that time this fact is really important. Now see here, what the main point I want to tell from this case is this, why I have inserted this case is that now the police came, or the TT came, and on the refusal to get out, the force was used to make him get out of the carriage. Now here you will not tell that this is battery. If he has pull your collar and tell that निकल इससे बॉगी से निकल, जल्दी उतर, नहीं तो तेरे को ले जाऊंगा अंदर, जेल में सड़ा दूंगा, and he pushed you out of the bogey, the train stop, and he told get out, don't enter without ticket, and something like that happened. Now in that time, in that case you will not be there and go and tell that in the court that this is the case of battery. No sir, this was the forcible removal, but it was justified because you was a trespasser in that case according to this fact only. Therefore the defendant was not held liable. Then you can connect it in another way, the statutory authority work. You can consider it the statutory authority work, but this will not be a battery because you was a trespasser. You will not tell that this is battery on me, should be initiated against him. Second is the assault. Now battery is when you use force. There is the intentional use of the force. Matlab ki you have used the force. You know, yesterday when we were discussing that private defense, we told that Priyambada in the night at 3 a.m. 3 a.m. saw that someone was standing in front of her house. So he went and used the force on him. He started beating him very badly. Okay, that is your battery. If you beat him very badly, or even touched with a stick, or he threw water on him, and Priyambada told that get out from my premises, that is your battery. Another is assault. Now Priyambada saw someone is standing in front of her house. Very good. Now Priyambada got an apprehension in the mind that this person is coming to use a battery against me. This reasonable apprehension, understand, this reasonable apprehension of the infliction of the battery by the defendant is your assault. So when the defendant by his act create an apprehension in the mind of the plaintiff that he is going to commit battery against the plaintiff, the wrong of assault is completed. The moment you think, for example, pointing a loaded pistol at another is an assault. Okay. Because when someone, now Kanish Bhaiya come and point a pistol in front of me, so I don't know that whether it is loaded or not loaded. That is afterward once he will tell that अरे नहीं तो मैं तो मजाक कर रहा था RNG. That is another circumstances. But tomorrow Kanish Bhaiya come and in front of me put a pistol, or tomorrow one of my client, okay, one of two client are there. I have, from the one side I have fought the divorce petition, divorce दिलवा दिया मैंने. So the other side came to my chamber and took out the pistol and loaded at me. Now I am having the reasonable apprehension that he is going to use battery against me. That reasonable apprehension is your assault. So the test is whether a apprehension has been created in the mind of the plaintiff that the battery is going to be committed against him. And if the plaintiff knows that the pistol is unloaded, there is no assault. Now Kanish Bhaiya brought the pistol, and I know that there is no gun, shot in that. I know that from where he will bring. He has not become a lawyer also. Once he would become a lawyer, it might be possible that he in his chamber keep lots of AK-47 and all such that guns. But now I know that from where he will bring the. So I told that Ganesh ji, ये तो गणेश पूजा वाला खिलौना है. What are you doing? I know it is. So if the plaintiff know that the pistol is unloaded, there is no assault. But if the plaintiff does not know, then definitely even a criminal gangster will be in a fear that the gun has been loaded on me and I am going to be killed. So that is your assault, a reasonable apprehension. Clear, everyone? When you write clear, then only I think that I am teaching something that is getting in your mind. If you don't write clear, then it's very difficult. Yeah. Now we come to another issue, that is false imprisonment. So what is, just we will be discussing this whole issue so that we know what it is. Okay, this is not your even in the law school also you are taught this or this same thing only in the same manner, only with the case law and all. So we are not going to do PhD in tort. So just we should know that what is Valentino unfit injuria, what is assault, what is battery. So tomorrow, as we see the CLAT 2021 pattern in which all the static legal was there, as a result of which we have decided to start this series. Nothing else. So false imprisonment, what is false imprisonment? False imprisonment is that where there is a total restraint for some period without any lawful justification. Or if the police take you and put in the locker, or you are kept under the police custody or the judicial custody, that is not false imprisonment. False imprisonment is that when without any lawful justification you are kept in a room where you have no means of escape. Okay, the person will be deprived of his personal liberty. He will be confined to the four walls. He is not able to leave that place. Okay, then it will be considered to be a false imprisonment. It should be without any lawful justification. We take the example not recently. It was I guess in the year 2017 or 16. So there were two the couple, both were of the more than 18, of the major, they were not the minor. Now they eloped, somehow they eloped from the house. Very good. However, after eloping 2 to 3 days, the father of the daughter caught hold of the daughter, brought her to the house and locked in the room in which she has no means of escape. She was confined to the four wall. That was not a lawful justification. Now that particular boy with whom the daughter has eloped, he moved to the Supreme Court, okay, and told that this is a false imprisonment, sir. The father told that this is not a false imprisonment. She is my daughter. I can keep her in any way. The Supreme Court told, no, sir, this is false imprisonment. You have restrained that person from leaving that court from the last 48 hours. Although you are giving her food, although you are giving her water, although you are allowing her to only use what is in the room, but you are not allowing her, her personal liberty has been infringed, and that is false imprisonment. And the court told the father to immediately release the daughter. And because they are the major, that is another case that we don't have to go in that. But whatever it is, you have clear. You must have understood what is the main point I want to take. That the court held that this is false imprisonment because you are not allowing that person to move. You are preventing her from leaving that place, and she is confined in the four walls. Now, four walls does not mean four wall only. It can be two wall also sometime, but two wall is not possible. That so, in a layman term and in the law, we take it four wall. It can be six wall, whatever it might be. In a house also, she might be or he might be locked. That is another thing. So, if a man is restrained by threat of force from leaving his own house or an open field, that is false imprisonment. There should be total restraint on the liberty without any lawful justification. For example, guys, if a person locked you in a room having two gates, okay, the one gate is locked from outside, but however the second gate is not locked, you can open the gate and go from there. That is not your false imprisonment. Why I included this point? Because this type of question come in CLAT. That's why I included this. If the gate can be opened by you from the inside, you can open the gate and you can go. That is not false imprisonment. But if both the gate are locked from outside, you cannot open the gate and you cannot elope, but you cannot move from there. That is your personal, that is your infringement of the personal liberty, and that is your false imprisonment. So this are the thing. Now we will not start with defamation because it is a very important issue. We will start it tomorrow. We will stop here for today. We discuss all this important issue. So just read it from the book, whichever book you are following, and we will be discussing the question once we complete the whole taught lecture. So we are having defamation. That is an important issue that we will be starting tomorrow. So we stop till here. If you have any doubt, you can ask.